If you have one of these, and one of these, then you can add your flight telemetry data to your aviation videos really easily. There are other ways to do this using the GPS data embedded in your GoPro MP4 file, but I focused on using Garmin Virb Edit and Vegas Pro with the GPS data saved from my flight in SkyDemon instead. Stay tuned to find out more. Stay tuned? Who writes this stuff? What are we, in the 1950s? Anyway, continue watching. You get what I mean. This isn't a tutorial as such, it's just me showing you how I easily added telemetric information such as speed, altitude, track and vertical speed to my aviation videos. I can then import the GPX information from SkyDemon to Garmin Virb Edit to create a video overlay showing the relevant telemetric data. I then have the flexibility to render this video together with my original flight video in Vegas Pro 19 without losing video quality. It sounds complicated, but it's really straightforward. So to start, I need to create a blank black video file for the same length as the combined GoPro footage. That was easy to say. So I go to my working videos and I get the 5 clips and I put them in there. There they are. All of them together. What I'm then going to do is drag across an image that I created earlier. It is a 4K blank PNG file, but actually I think I could have just made it a 1080p. In fact, I'm going to save it as a 1080p, render it as a 1080p anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So it's got to line up, which it does, so I can delete that now. Yes. Okay, so we've now got a blank video of the same length as the combined GoPro clips. What I'm then going to do is render that. Now, this is what I've been doing wrong, because I've done this about 8 times now. I've got to render it and make sure that there you go, the project is set. I'm not very good with Vegas Pro, I'm still learning. So I'm going to render that as a 1080p, 30 frames a second, and we're going to call it night rating. No, we're not. We're going to call it blank media, because I did this earlier and it tried to overwrite it with the same name and it all went wrong. So blank media, I'm all over the place, .mp4. Render it up big styly. There's one that already exists. Is there? Oh yeah, there is. That's fine. So this is going to take a while, so we'll come back when that's done. So that's now finished creating the blank media for me, so we can delete that file. Going to go to Garmin Virb now. I keep wanting to call it Verve, but anyways, Verb. Going to create video. I'm going to call it night rating, and I think whatever you call this is the name of the MP4 file that it creates in a sec as well when you export it. We're going to add all 5 videos. Okay, highlight them all with shift, drag them down to the timeline. There they are. Now, you've now got to import the Gpx file from SkyDemon. There you go. Dismiss. Use this. There you go. So you only need to sync the first file, because once you've done the first bit, in theory all the others will just follow on. But it's important you get it right, because if you get it wrong, then your data is going to be out. So I know for a fact that this needs to be 302 different now. So, and this took me ages earlier. If I make it 301, go done, just for now, just to show you what you have to do, the theory. So at least I've saved it nearly right. So if you go to satellite and then zoom in, it will show you where you are. And what will happen is, as I start playing it, it always, for the very first time, it pauses. It won't do that again. Right, that car's gone, so I know I'm going to start taxiing now. There you go, that's not bad. Obviously that I didn't taxi like that, but because these buildings are around, then the GPS is going to be interfered with a little bit. So you want to be looking for distinctive points of turning, maybe. So there you can see I'm already turning, so I'm going to move that up. So I'm still moving there. Yeah, I've messed it up now. So it's best to be behind, because that way. So once it stops, there. Now what I need to do is, let me just go back. So I'm under now, so let me put it back to 302. Make it 303 for a second, done, and then go back into it again. So you've saved it. This will be slightly out now. It's not bad. See if I come to a stop. So what I'm going to do is move that back to when I stop, and then move that on. So I stop there. There. Gets a bit tedious, this. Just push it on. I'm just doing my run-up checks there. Now I'm already behind that aircraft. It's not ready to go yet. Do you know what? That ain't bad. Let's push it on. I might be slightly ahead. But you know what? That ain't bad. So if I just click done, just to save that and go back. Oh, I'm 304 now. That's interesting. I've not been 304 before. Okay, well, we need to add the gauges now. Now I've created some gauges here under templates called Andy Aviation, or Aviation Andy. Right. Yeah, don't delete the other ones for some reason to start with. So now that's interesting. There you go. Let's just see what happens as I start taxiing. I think I'd take off straight away here. Almost. 11 knots, 12 knots, 14 knots, 15 knots, 16 knots, 25 knots. 30. Now bear in mind this is ground speed, but at the moment the ground speed and the air speed are roughly the same. And I'm up. And there we go. I reckon that's quite aligned quite nicely at 304. So now we're in a position to go back in and delete all of this. And now we can add back in the blank media we created in Vegas Pro and add that into the timeline. What we're going to do now is click on that so that we get to import Gmatrix, and you select the previous one, or you can add it back in again and then use this log. Now the key thing you have to do now is realign the Gmetric sync again, and you have to do it, I think we said 304, didn't we? So that number is key. Very fiddly, this. Got it. 304. Done. Cool. Right. So go to templates and double click. Yes, yes, yes. I know. So there's the template, my previous one that I created yesterday. Got DI there. You've got your QNH there. Your track and your VSI, vertical speed indicator, with your ground speed. I can't label these, and I don't know why, but I can do that in Vegas Pro. So now you've done all that and you've aligned your video with the Gpx file, then you just export it. 1080p, I'm doing it at 60 frames a second, target max. I'm not going to export transparent PNG sequence. That just took too long. This would probably be ideal if that was a transparent movie file or something like that, a MOV file. But anyway, I'm going to export now. Here we go. So when that's done, I'll come back. Brilliant. So the video's now been exported, and what we can do is just click on Explorer, and there it is. So if I double click on that now, there is our video. And you can move it along, and it looks like it's working. 140 knots, look at that. Wow. Anyway, and then it should be nothing at the end. There you go. So that's our video that we've created, and all we've got to do now is to copy that into Vegas, so we can close this down now. We don't need Verb Edit again for this particular project. So we can remove that file, and we'll drag in our videos again. So I'm going to add in the video I created. It was 213 meg. And there it is, added in there. And I should be able to just drag that down. So it's obviously got a audio track, which we don't need. What we'll do now is we need to go in and Chroma Key that. And again, I'm no expert at this. Make it black. And then just adjust that up so it doesn't make that any darker. And there, just so the reds are nice. And that should be that. So let's see if it worked. Put it on best auto because that's all I can use. Let's move it on a bit. Do you know what? It's not bad. The proof will be in the landing, I think. And you can mess about with this. What you can do on here is obviously add the other bits as well. Just push that landing on a bit. Oh, pushed it on too much. Good old Vegas, eh? Jerk, jerk, jerk. Right. 154 feet. Bear in mind the runway is 100 foot above sea level. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It could be, I could tweak it and move it either way by a second or so, but really for when you're in the air, it's quite good. It'll be interesting to see what happens when I turn around now. Yeah. Yeah, that's, do you know what, I reckon that's okay. So I want to add in those labels that I couldn't find in Garmin Virb. So I'm going to add those in now. 3 video tracks, titles and text. Just move that there a sec. I'm going to make them the whole length. What I'll do is I'll copy those down onto there as well, I think, for now. Oh, where's that gone? Oh, there. Okay, they're all there. So I now want to start with the top one. I'm going to make that ground speed. It's going to be messy for a bit, isn't it? Let's just hide those. So ground speed, and I'm going to use track motion to get that where I want it. And I've opened this up on another monitor so that I can see what it looks like. I think that looks okay. There you go. Ground speed. And in fact, I could have cut and pasted that, couldn't I? So this one then, we'll make that, we'll call that Q and H, shall we? Right, Q and H. And we'll track motion that. So, doesn't want to be too big because it needs to, yeah, it's too big. Q and H, and finally DI. And that's muted, so let's unmute that. Same again. Track motion. Let's make it small. Move it. Oh, does that look alright? It's not perfect, is it? But it's better. Should I stop playing with it now? Let me just make sure that doesn't clutter up when we're... Right. There you go. I think that looks alright. So this is the finished article, and you can see I've replaced Q and H with Alt and DI with track, and I'm a lot happier with that. I've also added in a transparent PNG taken from a screenshot from Garmin Virb Edit and placed it under the moving track. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up as it will really help me. Thanks.